What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. This story's called, "A Very Bad Day Became a Bit Better When I Borrowed Him from the Store." I had a bad morning, which was lifted a little by having some fun with a horrible customer. I went to a funeral this morning. It was sad in so many ways. Sad because he was a good friend. Sad because it was a suicide. Sad because only 10 people could attend, COVID-19. Sad because I couldn't comfort the family afterwards. I decided to go straight to the store after the service, so I was in my best suit looking a bit smarter than normal. It's a well-known UK supermarket based in Yorkshire. I'll call it Maryson's, which sounds nothing like its real name. I had only gotten 10 yards into the store when I heard an angry voice. I went toward the noise. The customer was on the BWS aisle next to a flavored gin display and leaning into the face of a staff member.
"Well, it's on your website, so why isn't it on the freaking shelf?"
The website is for online purchases. It doesn't mean it'll be in stock in every store."
"Well, it should freaking say that on the website."
"I think you'll find it does, sir."
Loudmouth customer looks at the name badge.
"Well, Kevin,"
A horrible mocking tone when he stressed the name.
"you had better use those poofy little arms that can't stand to be touched and drag your gay little cart into the back and frickin' find one for me."
The cart contained bottle lock security devices, so Kevin was obviously applying the security tags to the gin bottles.
"I know he don't because I've already checked for a lady earlier."
"You're freaking idiots! How do you stay in freaking business?"
This is the point where I walk up to the customer. Politely I say, "You're obviously having a problem. Let me try to help. Come with me, sir, and we'll try to get something sorted out for you." I turned to Kevin and pointed to Loudmouth customer's trolley, shopping cart for Americans, and I said, "Just leave this trolley here. We'll be back in a few minutes." The trolley was about a third full of food, etc. Kevin just stared at me and said,
"Okay."
I turned back to Lost MC and said, "Okay, sir, you come with me and tell me what would make you happy. You don't have any valuables in the trolley, do you?"
"No, just a few things I needed. I only really came in for the gin that was on offer."
I walk towards the door and Loudmouth customer walks alongside me. Obviously, the item you wanted isn't in stock. Instead of that, what would make you happy?
"I don't know, a free bottle of Tanqueray gin, for all the stress and inconvenience."
Tanqueray is on the expensive end for supermarket stock. We approach the door. Let me see what I can do. We have to go out of the store and back in through the side entrance. There's a strange one-way system because of Brovid. Just follow me. He followed me out of the store, past the customer channel set up for social distancing. He was grumbling all the way.
"Maybe one bottle isn't enough. I had to deal with that spindly idiot shelf-stacker back there. It took me ages just to get him to understand what gin I was after."
We were about 35 yards from the entrance when I stopped him. "Let me stop you here. Let me explain the situation. You won't be receiving any compensation. The only reason I've walked with you this far out of the store is because you are using foul language in the store where there are children. You are abusive and homophobic to a staff member. There is a zero tolerance policy for any abuse, homophobia, or racism. Listen carefully. You are banned from the store for life. The comments you made to Kevin are hate speech. That is a criminal offense. If I wasn't so short of time, I would call the police. Instead, I am banning you. I don't want you to ever visit the store again. If I see you attempting to return to the store, I will call the police and a formal complaint will be made about your behavior and speech. I will be happy to provide a statement. I'm sure Kevin will too." I pointed to the security guards at the entrance. "You see that man and woman on the door? I'm now going to talk to them. I will suggest to them that if you even start to approach the door, they they should call the police immediately. I wasn't gonna report your homophobic hate speech, but I will if you don't leave the premises immediately without any trouble.
I ain't doing any hate speech.
Poofy little arms, gay little trolley.
That counts as hate speech. I'm also guessing that the camera will show you grabbing or touching Kevin. That is an offense even when we don't have the social distancing laws.
I was just getting his attention.
I'm not prepared to discuss it any further. The sensible thing for you to do would be to leave and think you're lucky that you're not in the police station. If you want me to make a formal criminal complaint, then by all means I will. Please write to Maryson's head office at Bradford. My name is Mr. OP. If you can't remember that, just ask them to speak to the store general manager. Make sure you give your full name and address on the letter so you can be identified. I strongly suggest you don't keep abusing shop staff. It's not tolerated anymore. Goodbye. I walked back to the security staff. I said, "That man over there," I pointed at him as he crossed the car park, "was abusing one of the staff. He's leaving, but you might want to be careful if he comes back."
Okay, thank you.
I didn't go back in. I stood at the door near the guards and watched a loudmouth customer drive away. Then I went to my car and drove off. I bought the tea bags and milk that I needed at another supermarket. I didn't want to go back into Maryson's in case a loudmouth customer came back and realized I don't work there. Or anywhere. I've never worked there. Retirement has turned me into a mischievous little bastard. Well, that's fun, keeps you busy, and saves stressed out employees from dealing with, the jerk of a guy. I can't really call him a Karen because he's a dude. Screw it, he's a Karen regardless. This story's called Dude Targets Me and Refuses to Believe I Don't Work at the Supermarket. This just happened as I was leaving the supermarket. As I told my hub about it, he suggested I posted while still fresh. Stopped there to pick up a dish sponge and half a gallon of milk. Ended up doing a full grocery shopping. Excited at the prospect of going home with one less task pending and more time to play Trove with my son, I walk my cart full of food to my truck. This is where the I Don't Work Here Lady mess began. The parking lot is fair-sized for the supermarket. I drive a Ford F-150, and because it is raised, I found it easier to park towards the back of the lot so I can avoid the risk of not seeing someone walk behind the truck or park in my blind spot. About halfway through the parking lot, a man, maybe early 50s, begins calling out to someone, and I don't pay it any attention since I am on the phone with a relative. The call was short, and I hung up on my relative a few seconds before reaching my truck. I then get my shoulder grabbed and pulled by the same dude who was making noise at the front of the parking lot. Here's the cast. There's me, entitled mediocre prick, supermarket employee. What the fornication under consent of the king? Don't touch me, dude.
Didn't you hear me? You need to take my cart back.
What? No, I don't. Walk it back yourself.
Just do your job, you lazy bimbo. You kids don't know how to work. Come on, go do what you're supposed to.
At this point, he grabs my arm and tries to budge me. I'm 5'10" and 200 pounds. A prominent aspect of my job is lifting heavy items. You will not budge me if I don't want to move. I told you not to touch me.
I also do not work here. I am not wearing a uniform. I have no work badge. I'm trying to put the groceries I bought into my freaking vehicle. Leave me the hell alone.
I wrenched his hand off me and was so pissed that instead of punching him, I turned away and slammed my cart into my truck so I could finally leave this butthole's orbit.
How dare you freaking touch me? And you just scratch that truck. I'm gonna get you fired and arrested for being a crappy employee.
Now the store employee, a young man who picks up the shopping carts, jogs over to see what's up and is treated to witnessing me trying to get my groceries in my truck and the entitled mediocre prick butthole grabbing my bags and slamming them onto the ground. At this point, I'm all sorts of done and ask the kid to call the manager and the cops and to pull up camera footage. I'm gonna need it. Store employee is like a deer in headlights, but sets off to get help. Entitled mediocre prick is now trying to keep me from getting in my truck because butthole. The whole time he is screaming at the top of his lungs about how I will be fired and arrested. Store employee came back. Manager unavailable. Great. I asked the store employee to stay back since entitled mediocre prick is unhinged and used a small spray bottle of outdoor bleach mixture I keep in my purse to sanitize my work gear when I remove it. Sprayed it in entitled mediocre prick's eyes, and that got him to budge. I then sat on entitled mediocre prick, and I guess all that crap was enough for the manager to show up when the store employee went back a second time to get him. The security guard was very nice as he restrained entitled mediocre prick while we waited for police. The manager apologized and asked for my receipt so they could replace my groceries, and then showed the cops their footage of the cluster lovemaking when they arrived. Turns out, entitled mediocre prick has a history of assault against women. Shocking, I know. And an attempted kidnapping last year. The store employee theorized that entitled mediocre prick may have been trying to get me closer to his car since the cart drop-off was 2 cars away from him. I'm pressing charges and the supermarket is gonna have to switch security companies. Where the heck was the parking lot security guy? Chatting up teenage girls on the other side of the parking lot. I'm so freaking pissed because it could have gone way worse for me or another woman. Update! Got a call from my lawyer this morning that entitled mediocre prick was trying to get released from custody last night because his elderly mother made a scene at the station. My lawyer wasn't having it and knows I sure as crap wouldn't either. Bail was already high, but the on-duty officers were ready to let this butthole walk out because they didn't want to hear her whine and scream anymore. What? His ass will have to sit tight until Monday or Tuesday. I read through most of your comments. Thank you to those who have been supportive. I live in the Caribbean, not the 50 states. Pepper, wasp spray, guns are not options here. I'm black. I have to think 15 steps ahead before I defend myself and ask for help. It may cost me dearly. 5'10" and 200 pounds does not deter men from being crappy. I'm not muscular in a mainstream way, although some of those comments had me wheezing. I use bleach for work and for defense. If you choose to, I hope it helps. To those in the mindset that assume this is fake or overkill, I feel bad for the women in your life. The crap and danger they face, they might be facing alone because of that attitude. We'll update this coming week when we go to court. Thanks, guys. Oh yeah, do not mess around with parking lots late at night. They are no joke. Like, I've heard stories from people I know personally where they have straight up been attempted to be kidnapped. You get what I'm saying? There's attempted kidnappings going on where they are the intended kidnappee. Anyway, this occurred like in a parking lot when she was literally walking with her mom. And she was a teenager at the time, so like, this stuff's crazy. It happens all the time, unfortunately. So, yes, be careful in parking lots, especially at nighttime. Especially parking garages. Oh my god! This story's called Because I Do Work There. Not sure if this really belongs here, but it's tangentially related. About 12 years ago, a few years after I started working for the government in a very particular security agency, not part of the deep state, and I can't find anyone who is, I would stop at my neighborhood grocery store on the way home once or twice a week to pick up fresh items. During the winter, I would wear a long, dark overcoat atop my suit, as the fashion of the time, a black fedora. Me, being clueless as to how I looked, would happily complete my shopping. I took little notice of what went on around me. Fast forward about a month. As I am shopping, an older man wearing a manager name tag approached me. He asked if he could speak to me for a couple of minutes and then proceeded to show me around the store. I, still in an utterly clueless state, am confused when he begins to point out abandoned, half-filled grocery carts. After a few minutes, I stop him and asked what this is actually about.
This happens buzz every time you come in, and I think you're coming from your office.
I nod, still confused.
Haven't you heard what the customers are whispering?
I shake my head, even more confused.
They keep saying, Federales, and then get the hell out of here.
I blink in complete bafflement.
They think you're a federal officer here to arrest them.
The light bulb in my head finally gets some juice and light spills through my brains and out my ears. I lived in an area with a large undocumented visitor population, and still do. Nice people. Coupled with the 3 initials emblazoned in white on a dark blue lanyard hanging around my neck. It all suddenly makes sense. I turned a little red in the face.
Mind not coming in right after you get off work? Cause it takes us about an hour to round up all the carts and put the products back on the shelves.
Ah, sure. Sorry about this. I didn't know.
Oh, we know you didn't know.
He didn't say it in a mean way, and we both chuckled a little. After that, I did not go shopping dressed in my office clothing. I got a free 6-pack of soda the first time I showed up on a weekday dressed in civilian clothes. The entire staff knew about me. That was a cute little story. It's really sad how a lot of these people are just trying to shop and they freak out at the sight of a government worker. Just goes to show how on edge a lot of families are constantly. This story's called Buy Me Dinner. My neighbor is a 70-something cat lady who will take me to lunch every other weekend in exchange for lifting all the cat litter and cat food at the pet store and then unloading it at her place. Last December, before everything, the store decided they weren't letting carts leave the building. So I took the first bunch of bags to the car and went back while she got the car started and pulled up to the doors. On the last trip inside, a Karen grabs my waist and snaps.
You're helping me next.
I give the, sorry, I don't work here spiel, and she seems to absorb that I'm not wearing a polo and khakis and that I'm listening to music. This doesn't stop her though.
Well, you'll still help me anyway.
And with the desperation of having held back a joke I'd wanted to make for years, I said, you'll have to buy me dinner first, and left. I don't know why you'd hold that back from a 70-year-old lady. You'd be surprised. A lot of older ladies love an inappropriate joke every now and then, especially if it's about something you've got going on between just the two of you guys. That's called an inside joke, and I'm sure she'd appreciate having one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.